In what would be considered the home stretch heading into the general election of decision 2016. My good friend Sean Gumatata, lifelong Oakland A's fan, is here. And we are talking about politics and hopefully some sports analogies with that.
Right, the game of politics that it is.
There you go, exactly. And there is a definite strategy, and you have to be kind of methodical and pace yourself as you go along. So as we head into the seventh inning stretch, if you will, there's a big push right now to get more registered voters on Guam. In your time working in and out of politics and everything, what is the ballpark, again, figure of how many registered voters there are on Guam?
Well, it's interesting, Jason, over the, in midterms, they are traditionally lower than the big general elections. The general elections had averaged in some of the highs of 80, 85% voter turnout. But we've seen a marked difference, right, especially in the last general election, in the last couple of cycles, in the 42, 43. There's been some talk that there may be a 40% voter turnout for this particular election. So it's incumbent on all of us, not just those who are part of campaigns or on either side of the aisle. It's all of us in terms of wanting to ensure that our voices are heard. And and if you go out there and vote, then it means a lot. It's a big deal for everyone.
Now, what do you attribute to the fact that because I mean, it's one thing to say GEC did its very best job and they got all these people registered, and for some reason, not all of them actually made it out to the polls. I mean, you have to actually register everybody and then execute and then get them all to go out and cast their ballot.
So your question is, what's been causing them not to vote?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, in my opinion, has been apathy. When I've been out in the villages, I was just out canvassing the villages earlier this week, and a lot of the folks are saying, I'm not going to vote because it's rigged, or I'm not voting because the same people are going to get in, so why do it? So we try to encourage people to say, hey, if you have a particular person or issue that you're trying to get accomplished, do go out and vote. It's very important to get your voice heard. People they're so apathetic to it that they just feel I'll just stay home.
That's kind of the most doomsday situation of all, because actual registered voters losing faith in the process.
Right, and I think that the Guam Election Commission has done a lot, campaigns have done a lot, individual candidates have done a lot to get people to get out and vote. There's voter drives all the time. We're seeing a lot more of them, and as we get closer to the deadline, which I think is sometime in the next week or so, it's going to be more and more important to get everyone to come out and vote. And I would be the first to tell everyone to get out and vote. And we'll watch the results on election night right here on KUAM, and you'll see your vote put to good use when you see either changes in lawmakers, or you're going to see changes of who's going to different offices.
Now, that's the traditional demographics that we've been talking about. Now, let's concentrate on probably the most challenging market to appeal to is the millennial market.
Yes.
It's fashionable within that crowd to say, I don't care about anything. And, we've got our own set of ideals and everything like that, and it's kind of, it doesn't involve that stuff. How do we actually get them interested in politics to the point where they say, hey, if you participate in everything, you can actually be part of change?
I think that's a great point. They are very important for everyone right now. I think that for them, they need to know that their vote matters. Second, that the issues that affect them the most, the economy, jobs, those pocketbook issues, that those are being addressed. They don't want to hear any excuses for why those can't be addressed. And I think the millennials are very valuable to not only this cycle, but they're going to play a big role in the general election in 2 years. And everyone is really trying to figure out, how do I get that across? Also on the national side, that's also been the biggest hang-up for both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, is that those two candidates for president, they're not being, there's nothing that they're offering that they're buying right now, that millennials are buying today.
And maybe for the millennials, talking to them directly right now, young men and women,
right, what
are the major differences between a Republican and a Democrat, specifically on Guam?
Well, I mean, it goes back to a couple things. And this is just from going back to basic civics class. Again, someone likes big government, someone likes small government. There's issues on life, this whole idea of either choice and life, and then of course the strong defense and not so strong defense. Those are three very bare bones issues that separate Democrats and Republicans.
So should, at that point in these young people, I mean, they're either beginning college, they're like a couple years out of college, really finding their place in the real world and everything like that. should they try and maybe go to a couple pocket meetings and maybe see what appeals more to them and develop these allegiances?
They should also, I mean, they're getting talked to at home. They're watching at the kitchen table, watching this program, and they're asking their parents and their grandparents who have very definitive ideals of what a Republican and Democrat are, how to vote, but they should be a little bit more active, listen to some of the stuff on campuses, watch this program, watch the D16s, and then make the choice themselves.
All right, Sean. Well, thanks as always. We appreciate it.
All right, not a worries.
All right, and unfortunately about your A's, maybe next year.
I know.
We'll talk about that. Okay, we're going to go talk baseball and everything. We'll see you on the flip side of this break.